Hey, it's Michael J. Flores,
And Bella Flores.
and we're bringing you another constructed queue, extended tournament, Wargate once again.
We lost the roll, Dad.
We did lose the roll, but we can keep this hand.
The hand is only okay, Dad.
Yeah, I suppose it is only okay. We don't have any first or second turn action, but we do have a Wargate, and we can ramp into Cryptic Command. It's not a hand I think I would mulligan, not knowing what my opponent is.
It's not like we have to be scared of course nothing.
Yeah, we got pretty lucky. He didn't play anything on the first turn, you're right. We've got a Verdant Catacombs. And his second turn, Mutavault, nothing again. Very lucky. We're going to go ahead and use Verdant Catacombs for one of the best plays that this deck can make and go get the one Murmuring Bosk on the first turn.
That play is great because it's a force, but it can tap for white.
We're going to go ahead and use the Rampant Growth here. Go get an island. Next turn, we're going to have mana to play Cryptic Command. And then the turn after, if we need to, we can play Wargate because we got that white with the Murmuring Bosk on the first turn.
And he finally does something.
Yeah, he's got a third turn Imperious Perfect, which is basically like a Grey Ogre right now. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch it with the Cryptic Command, but, you know, we're basically untouched. Going into the third turn, we have 4 lands in play. I like our chances. And he's activating Mutavault. Mutavault is all types, including Elf. So he's going to smash us in here for 3. Again, I feel pretty confident. We're going to use the Cryptic Command at the end of his turn to pick up the Imperious Perfect. He'll probably make a creature, but, you know, he's going to have basically no board presence. Under present conditions, we're going to have like 6 free turns to do whatever we want. Plus, in this case, it'll dig us like 1 card deeper. So, go.
Goodbye.
Meanwhile, the Cryptic Command is going to draw us into an Explore. The Explore is actually going to be pretty awesome because we're going to be able to explore, play 2 lands, and open Mana Leak mana this turn.
I think you should have played the volcano.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The way the turn played out, we would have still had Mana Leak open, so you're right. But we don't have Prismatic Omen yet, so it's not like we could have dung him with either of the Valakuts. Probably irrelevant there, but maybe that's the kind of small mistake that creeps up on you. Doesn't seem to matter in this game, but it might matter in some future game.
No excuses! Nice leak, Dad. Why doesn't everybody play blue?
You know, Bella, I'm not sure why everybody doesn't play blue. If I'm playing Extended, this is just a rule of thumb that I've got so far, I really want Mana Leak, Cryptic Command, and Jace the Mind Sculptor on my team.
What about Baby Jace?
Baby Jace is good too, but those are the 3 cards that I really want to build around in Extended personally. You can build all kinds of decks around Cryptic Command, Mana Leak, and Jace the Mind Sculptor. From a deck like this Scapeshift combo deck, to Mythic Conscription, to 4 and 5 color control, Grixis decks, all different kinds of great decks. Meanwhile, in this game, we just used Wargate to get Prismatic Omen in play, and with the number of Valakuts we have ready, and the fact we have Scapeshifts in our hand, the game is about over.
He doesn't even give us the chance to combo off.
Yeah, the writing's pretty much on the wall. We got the first one.
Are we gonna board?
I think we're just going to cut 2 Cultivates for 2 Fire Spouts. Cultivate is the slowest of the accelerators, and people are cutting it from their green acceleration decks in Standard. I think it's like the weakest card in the deck versus Fire Spout, which gives us a lot of room, actually.
Sounds good.
So, question, do you keep this hand? 6 lands, including 1 Valakut the Molten Pinnacle, and a Cultivate. Perhaps it's that our previous opponent conceded to a Cultivate. Perhaps I am terminally overconfident. Anyway, say so in the comments. Would you have kept? The 6 lands Cultivate hand, drawn to a Rampant Growth, certainly looks a little bit less good when he has a really aggressive start. First turn Land War Elves. It looks like he's got some stuff for turn 2 as well.
Looks like he had a real draw this game.
I'll say, Bella, this really does look like a real draw. So he's got 2 guys by the second turn, as well as a Thoughtseize. I'm not sure if I would have taken the Cultivate there. If he takes our Rampant Growth, he stops our initial acceleration. It actually looks like he knew something that we didn't. We top deck Prismatic Omen, and given the fact that we have no 4 to accelerate into, it seems like Prismatic Omen is a better play than Rampant Growth for me here.
Don't tell me you are going to lose to that.
I think I've actually lost to that card at Regionals once. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, that's Door of Destinies. It's a 4-mana rare card from Morningtide. My opponent has set his Door of Destinies to Elf. So every time he plays an elf card, he can put a counter on it. And all of the elves that he has in play are going to get +1/+1 for each counter on the Door of Destinies. I don't know if Door of Destinies is a great card in the abstract, but it's certainly going to be pretty good at putting the kibosh on any fire spouts that I might draw. Okay, meanwhile on good guy's side, we've played the mighty Preordain. And Preordain has shown us Monolith and Wargate. Unsurprisingly, I'm going to keep both cards, and I'm going to put the Monolith in my hand, and I'll be able to cast the Monolith next turn. The plan, of course, is to use the Wargate after we've tempoed him with the Monolith in order to get a couple of Valakuts in play. No, of course he's not going to get a Hunting Triad. Unfortunately, just playing the Hunting Triad is going to make his other creatures a bit bigger. He bashes us for 3. Our turn. So the only things that we can play this turn are Wargate and Rampant Growth. We have no reactive spells. So I'm going to play the Wargate, which is the more expensive of the two, and we're going to go get a second copy of Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. We can't quite get up to 6 lands this turn. 6 lands is the magic number for Valakuts being online in this deck. But at least starting next turn, pretty much all the lands that we play are going to be worth 6 damage, which is pretty cool. However, we are about to be on Disaster Alert. I guess for the big rub-ins, he's showing us an Imperious Perfect. But the actual creature cards that he's going to play are not 1 but 2 Ren's Run Vanquishers. Each of those Ren's Run Vanquishers is actually 7/7.
This is just embarrassing.
Well, first embarrassment of several, he's going to clock us for 5 down to 12. Play the next turn pretty badly. I'm not sure how it would have turned out if I played right. I basically have to play the Misty Rainforest. The Misty Rainforest would give us an additional couple of activations on the Valakut the Molten Pinnacles. The way I did play it, I only got 4 activations off the Valakuts, and those are obviously not big enough to kill 2 7/7 Ren's Run Vanquishers. So I'm basically going to jump through a lot of hoops and leave myself dead on board.
You mentioned this is just embarrassing.
Yeah, it is pretty embarrassing, I have to admit. But if we kill the 2 Vanquishers, and I haven't even done the math correctly, and we left the Llanowar Elf and the Bramblewood Paragon, that's 9 power. If he played the Imperious Perfect in his hand, he would power both of them with the Door of Destinies, and the Perfect itself would boost them. So I'm pretty sure we would end up dying anyway. Not that it's a huge excuse. So after all that, it's die Llanowar Elf, die. Leave him with 14 power worth of creatures and us with 12 life. Situation pretty terrible.
No, I mean your play is terrible.
Yeah, everyone's a critic. Concede. I don't think we're going to make any changes sideboarding.
Okay, then I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay, here comes game 3. Unfortunately, no Bella with us. Much better opening hand than Cultivate and 6 lands or whatever we kept last game. So this one's got 2 Valakuts, bunch of lands in general, some acceleration, and a Prismatic Omen. We can play a proactive game. We can sit back on a Mana Leak if we want. He's opening up on a Nettle Sentinel. Somebody asked me earlier today, actually, who's the beatdown in this matchup? And especially how Wargate plays the later turns, I would say that the Elves deck is the beatdown. But it's interesting, just playing a Rampant Growth on the second turn, that's a very beatdown move. I'm not really ramping to a 4 here. I could very easily have just played a land and sat back on Mana Leak, and I'm not sure that would have been wrong. Like, he's going to play post-combat Bramblewood Paragon. I could very easily have just Mana Leaked it. As it is, I'm in pretty good position. I can run out a land and then play the Prismatic Omen and leave up Mana Leak mana for the next turn, so it's pretty control, right? It turns out I'm actually just glad that I played the way that I did. I'd much rather Mana Leak his Imperious Perfect here than pretty much any other card in his deck. Door of Destinies notwithstanding. How about his play? Was it greedy to play the Imperious Perfect pre-combat? On the one hand, if it sticks, he's going to get 2 additional damage. On the other hand, he has the potential to have his Nettle Sentinel not untap next turn. So we rip Mana Leak, and I like Mana Leak, so I'm going to just sit back on the Mana Leak. We could play the Wargate this turn, but our only lands to play are both Valakut, which come into play tapped. So if we play Wargate, we're not going to have Mana Leak Mana back. I am totally content to slow play the next turn or two. Notice we have not had to break our Misty Rainforest yet. Because Prismatic Omen is in play, we can actually tap the Misty Rainforest for mana. But when the time comes, and that time is going to be when we have multiple copies of Valakut the Molten Pinnacle in play, breaking that Misty Rainforest is going to be worth a ton of damage for us. So good old Mana Leak stops the Hunting Triad. The Hunting Triad untaps his Nettle Sentinel anyway. We're going to go down to 10. And this last turn is going to be fantastic. I have a lot of space, so I can just play it conservatively. We're going to use the Valakut to kill his creatures. Since I have both a Wargate and a Cultivate, and I'm going to have triple Valakut activations on every single land that I play from this turn forward, there's no reason to fast play it. I'm a 10. He doesn't have any red in play. And here comes Wargate. Third Valakut's going to come in play. And we've got the Misty Rainforest, etc., etc., etc. Concession. Woohoo! And another pack for the good guys. Wargate.